Like in a concentration camp, Russians angry that customs officers will take away their cars and valuables at the entrance to the decaying West. A blatant display of racism and aggressive nationalism. Kremlin propagandists outraged by Macron's press conference ban. Russian media exploit the problems of LGBTQ people. Serbian President did not cave in to gay pride organizers. Our analytical team at Detector Media is on constant watch, tracking the spread of the boldest fakes from Kremlin propaganda. I'm Vadym Miskyi, and for the next 10 minutes I'll guide you through the key facts. Let's get started. Europeans who wish to confiscate vehicles and items from Russians at customs that are prohibited from entering to the EU are adhering to an old European tradition prominently exercised in Auschwitz. This manipulative narrative was disseminated by Kremlin propagandists following the corresponding decision by the European Commission. To recap, Russian citizens who try to cross the border into the EU may have their cars and equipment confiscated. This is stated in an explanatory document of the European Commission. Speculating on the topic of Nazism is one of the favorite tactics of propagandists. Putin himself doesn't mince words.
Западные кураторы поставили во главе современной Украины человека, этнического еврея с еврейскими корнями, с происхождением еврейским. И таким образом, на мой взгляд, они как бы прикрывают такую античеловеческую сущность, которая положена во фундамент, в основу современного украинского государства.
Russian representatives systematically raise the topic of anti-Semitism at the UN.
Выражаем глубокую обеспокоенность увеличением числа случаев дискриминации, нетерпимости и экстремизма на основе расовой, этнической или иной неприязни, исламофобии, антисемитизма и христианофобии, в первую очередь в странах Европы. Социальные цифровые платформы, пользуясь безнаказанностью, зачастую потакают распространению дезинформации, ненавистнической риторики, проявлением неуважения к религиозным и духовным ценностям представителей различных конфессий, предоставляют трибуны экстремистам.
Ukraine, on the other hand, demands tougher sanctions against the aggressor country.
Зараз бачимо надто довгу санкційну паузу з боку партнерів і надто активні спроби Росії обійти санкції. Дуже важливо додати рішень вільного світу, який повинен захищати себе і захистити. І тим більше має уникнути будь-яких спроб використовувати компанії вільного світу, технології вільного світу, продукцію вільного світу, щоб воювати проти свободи.
I would like to add that the results of the Eurobarometer poll showed that Europeans support the EU's response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. 71% of respondents were in favor of imposing economic sanctions against Russia. The Eurobarometer poll was conducted in late August. More than 26,000 EU citizens were interviewed. A blatant display of racism and aggressive nationalism. This is what the Russian media wrote about the ban of a Russian propagandist from Emmanuel Macron's press conference at the G20 summit. The Russian Foreign Ministry even demanded an official apology from Paris.
Why? But why not a Russian journalist can come to Macron? Why?
I don't know why.
But why? You make my photo, my call.
Yes,
why?
you make my photo, so.
Yes, but
so
why?
I do the same.
Why it's impossible come for press
I
conference
don't know
Macron?
why it's impossible for you.
Yes, but your colleagues say you know why. What is mean?
It's not my colleague.
Yes, what is mean?
This is manipulation. After all decent Russian journalists have left the country and received the status of foreign agents. The only ones left in Russia are propagandists, and they were accredited to the G20 only because of Russia's membership in G20. I should add that the French president stated that the G20 is not the place to expect diplomatic progress on Russia's war against Ukraine. However, in his opinion, the summit once again confirmed Russia's isolation.
The G20 should not get stuck into some other issues, but of course we know that we disagree on Ukraine, given that Russia is a member of the G20. But as a matter of fact, things have been said. The G20 said it supports a just and lasting peace. This is exactly the opposite of what Russia is saying. And the G20 itself re-expressed our support to territorial integrity and the UN Charter. So that's it. But that being said, this is not the place where we will see some major developments, given in particular what the situation is on the ground. And we have here 16 members of the G20 who voted, approved all the resolutions that condemn Russia. 3 abstained and 1 voted against. And of course, this is Russia. So Russia precisely is in a very isolated position.
As a reminder, the G20 summit in New Delhi agreed on a joint declaration. The document emphasized that using nuclear weapons is unacceptable. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry expressed some disappointment. The declaration approved by the G20 does not condemn Russia's actions for its invasion of Ukraine. Naturally, Putin did not attend the summit. After all, he is not ready to go to The Hague under an arrest warrant from the International Criminal Court. The Russian dictator was represented by Lavrov. And now another portion of speculations by Kremlin propagandists on the topic of LGBTQ. The pretext was a statement by the President of Serbia. He said that despite the request of the organizers of the Gay Pride Parade in Belgrade, the LGBT flag would not be displayed on the building of the residence.
Evo, nešto mi se ne može I neću da okačim tu LGBT zastavu. Ne znam da će vlada da kači, jesu li oni dobili taj zahtev, ja sam dobio u pisanoj formi. Potpisao ga onaj Miletić. Je li Miletić potpisao, Suzana? Gde je Paunović? Otišlo? Dobro, Miletić je potpisao. Eto. Evo, neću da okačim. Tako da, sutra demonstrirajte još taman, svi se nađete od noća, sutra uveče, svi se lepo nađete I demonstrirajte.
The Russian media immediately twisted the statement of the conservative president of Serbia. They alleged that Aleksandar Vučić did not cave in to the organizers of the Gay Pride Parade. Hundreds of activists marched in support of LGBTQ rights in the center of Belgrade. Pride organizers called it the largest march in the history of conservative Serbia. Pseudo-elections in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine. This is a perfect opportunity for propagandists to create lots of fakes. Here is an example. An unknown expert from the United States says that the elections in Donetsk, Mariupol and other cities of the so-called DPR were supposedly free, open and transparent, and that all electoral procedures were supposedly observed.
So we went to Donetsk yesterday.
Мы вернулись вчера ночью из Донецка, где у нас была возможность посетить сразу большое количество избирательных участков. Мы были в Мариуполе, в Могуще, в Терезе, и мы видели везде примерно одну и ту же картину. Мы видим, что в Российской Федерации процедура выборов проходит стандартно, в соответствии со всеми требованиями.
Russia held elections to local occupation administrations.
Активные попытки дискредитировать выборы по всем направлениям, они были, есть и будут. Мы относимся к этому философски, спокойно, и будем, так как мы это принято у нас, отвечать фактами.
The world condemned the fake elections in the occupied territories. Here's how the Prime Minister of Canada commented on the elections. Quote, Canada will never recognize the results of the sham elections that Vladimir Putin organized in the temporarily occupied regions of Ukraine this week. Putin cannot redraw the maps as he pleases. Ukraine's territory shall remain Ukraine's. The United Kingdom did not remain aside either. I quote the British Foreign Office. You can't hold elections in someone else's country. Russia's sham elections in Ukraine are a shameful attempt to legitimize its baseless claims to sovereign Ukrainian territory. Here's what the US has stated, I quote, the Kremlin hopes these predetermined fabricated results will strengthen Russia's illegitimate claims to the parts of Ukraine it occupies, but this is nothing more than a propaganda exercise. Stay tuned to ensure that you never fall victim to Kremlin propaganda. Watch out for fake news. Have a nice day.